Does it say recording in progress? Did you hear that?
Yes.
Okay. So let me just share my screen. Um, oh my God. Hold on a minute. I had to turn on the permissions for Zoom. So let's start with I'm gonna read my interview guide a little bit. So I'm gonna read you off the screen what I'm gonna say, and then we'll have a little bit of questions, and then we'll jump into the prototype and what kind of tasks you'll have to complete.
Hmm.
All right. So you can see my screen. So if you can't hear me, that makes sense. Okay. So thank you for joining today. I'm Chloe. I'm going to lead this discussion. I'm a student of the User Experience Engineering course, and I'm working on a local app for whale watching experiences in the North Atlantic. So I'll be taking notes as we go through the wireframes. Um, but first, I'd like to thank you for taking the time to join us here today. It's going to be valuable for us to inform some of our future design decisions and to confirm it's probably going to be like 30, 40 minutes. Does that work for you?
Yeah, no problem.
Um, so during this interview, we're going to ask you a little bit about Welli, which is our whale watching companion experience app. There's no right or wrong answers, and the purpose of this interview is to hear about your genuine thoughts to help us guide later design direction as best as possible. Thus, feel free to give us your honest reactions. So we're going to record this conversation today, which we have already done. And but it's not going to be shared outward. It's only going to be shared for people in this course as well as the professors and TAs and myself. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, of course.
So I'm gonna share this with you, and if you could check, just like sign it off later, and we'll attach it to our course submission. Um, but I think it'd be good to just show you that this is what those two forms look like, and we'll need your consent. Do you give
Mhm.
your verbal consent right now?
Yes.
Cool. Um, okay, so let's start with a couple of questions. So, love to hear a little bit more about you. So, what do you do for a living?
Um, I'm currently doing design, but I am still looking for more permanent opportunities.
And then, what does your typical weekday look like?
Um, I'd say it's pretty flexible, but generally I do um work on site from like 3 days a week, and then I'll be home like the other 2 days.
Okay, cool. And so we talked a little bit about this being like a whale watching app. Have you ever been on a whale watch of your own?
No, I haven't.
Cool. Um, I don't think that like matters in the context of this particular
Sure.
app because I've also never been on a whale watching app.
I would love to.
But that's good to know, like the fresh pair of eyes. Um, so let's jump into our um wireframes themselves. So do you have um your link to the wireframes? If so, I'm gonna stop sharing and I'd like to see you share your screen for
Yeah.
as you walk through the wireframes, and I'll walk through some of the tasks I'd like you to do. If you get confused, that is totally okay. I think these
Hmm.
are low fidelity wireframes, so there is a lot of room for improvement.
Hmm. Okay.
Is
Mm,
still recording? Yes, it is.
I think this is the one. Do you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay.
And then does it fit in the frame?
Mhm. I could maybe minimize the. Try. Does that work? It's not working.
Press like the edit option on the next to share prototype. Can you do fit? Yeah, can you try this one? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's
That
a little
one.
better. Okay,
Mhm.
perfect. Um, okay, so oh wait, I see your screen. Okay, I see your screen. Um, bear with me. I'm just trying to open the 40 tabs that I have. The first thing I'd like you to do is if you're looking for specific information about whales, what can you please do that on the screen?
There we go.
Yep. And then if you like to read through some of the filler text, um, and look at the screen a little bit, um, that's cool. But the next thing I'd like you to do is, hypothetically, you read through this
Mhm.
and you're interested in symbolically adopting an animal, and in this case, it'd be a whale, um, and you'd like to, begin the adoption process. Can you do an interaction to start that? And then maybe you can tell me here, like, what kind of information you see.
I'm assuming would this be like the image of the whale?
Yeah. And then, yeah.
Um, just like all the information that you need.
Yep. Yep. And then
Then
if you'd like to, like, actually adopt the animal, what would you do?
image purchase. Oh,
Yep. And then, so you'd like to, like, maybe after this, you want to just go back to the home page. What would you press to go? What would you do to complete that interaction?
it's the home button.
Yep. Perfect. And then, um, you've looked a little bit at like one of the whale profiles, but if you'd like to see all of the whale profiles, what would you press? What would you
Mm,
do to complete that interaction?
maybe this one.
Yep. And then when you see this screen, how do you interpret this?
Um, like in what way?
Um, like do the I mean, I think
Oh,
the
like
rectangles on
what?
the top, what do those look like to you?
I'm assuming like you could like move left and right to navigate and see like the other whale profiles.
Yep,
Uh,
cool. I hope I like don't even know if I'm doing this right. Um,
but like you would get like a preview for like each side, like while you have the one you're currently looking at, right?
yes. Cool. And then so this page is like um showing a specific looks like it's showing a specific name
Hmm.
of a whale. So if you'd like to um read more about the not the individual whale itself and the species, what would you press? Where would you find that information?
Like, sorry, could you repeat that?
If you're looking for information about the species itself,
Mhm. Okay, so would it be this one?
yep. And then followed by that, you're like, okay, I'm done with this. I'd like more information. How would you complete that? Okay, cool. So now we looked into the trip details. Um, so you can see here there's like an image of a map at the top and then an itinerary. If you were to open up information, like blow up the map a little bit, how would you do that?
Um,
Yep.
would
And
I like
then
onto the map?
yeah, now I think tell I guess you yeah, tell me what you see here compared to the last screen.
Definitely like a zoom in of the area, and then is that telling you like where the whales are located?
Yes. So please bear with me because not all of these circles are clickable, but um
No problem.
hypothetically if you choose one of the circles here, like if you wanted to look at a particular stop in this route, how would you do so?
Mm,
Yep. And then as you pressed it, it opened sort of an overlay
mhm.
with like an image and some information. And then okay, so can we um wait a little bit as the screen changes
Yeah,
to
no
the new screen.
problem.
Okay,
Take
so
your
it did
time.
change. So
Okay.
now you're back to a different part of the screen. Part of the app where I would equate it to sort of a home page. If you'd like to, you see some of the menu options here. So I'm looking for, if you're looking for news information, what would you press?
Latest news.
Yep. And um, these are hypothetically some news articles that would be relevant to the time period that you're visiting the application. If you'd
Hmm.
like to see more about the first option here, what would you press?
See more.
Yep. And then, you know, some filler text here about what information um, about whale preservation enthusiasts. Um, So let's go back to another page where we'd like to search for a trip option. What would you press here to do that? Hypothetically, you're finished reading all of this
Mhm.
like article.
Trip option.
Yeah.
Um, can I search?
Yep. Cool. And why would you why did you press the search icon here?
Um, I mean, I feel like it was like the most logical next step, and I figured there'd be like a preview of some other options.
Cool. And then um um so here, there's more information about the hypothetical sightings you may see on your trip.
Hmm.
Um, if you're looking for a particular whale, let's say moon, um, in this example, how would you get to that specific information? Yep. And um, blah blah blah, you see like moon's details, and you're like, well, I want to move on to the following animal. How would you do that?
Next.
Yep. Well, I think that's it for the first prototype.
Mhm.
Let me pause. Can you please open the second link?
Yes. Um, it's still loading.
Yep.
Okay, let me share. Do you see the screen? Sorry.
Um, yes. Can you open and press do you see the right side? There's a play button next to share.
Is it this one?
Yeah, can you press that?
Mhm.
And let that open up. Um, sorry. If the flow tab works. It's like the wrong one. Can you scroll down to the on the menu side where there says flow? Can you scroll
Oh,
all the way
yeah.
down? Yeah. Uh, to flow six, please. Okay, there we go. Yes. Um, yeah, and then let's make it fit to the screen like we did before. The second option,
Oh, right.
fit. Yep, cool. Okay, so for the second prototype, we have similar tasks we'd like you to complete. So I'll just start off with laying out the screen a little bit. So on the upper left corner, um, the gray circle, let's label that as like a menu option. And
Hmm.
then um, the bottom half will also have more details in terms of like a navigation bar. And when it's going to be a clickable option, it'll be a slightly different color. So, no worries if we can't get this right. I mean, obviously this is a lower
Hmm.
fidelity prototype, so the icons will be added in later. But let's start off with, you're in the middle, you just open the app, you're in the home page, and you'd like to open a bigger menu. What would you do?
So
Yep. And of the options here, you want to begin adoption process. How would you do so?
adopt.
Yep. And so what do you see on the screen at this point? And you're looking for information about possible um whales. So what do you see on the screen?
These seem like the whale profiles with like all their names and then their species.
Yep. Cool. So at this point, I'd like you to go back home, and home is going to be like the
This one.
yep. Um um so after you've done so, you'd like to like see the full whale catalog. What would you press here? I guess at this point it's referred to as team, but
Is it meet the team?
yep. You want to hover over the yep. So what's yeah, you're looking for information around the animals here. What do you see on this page?
Their names and then these would be like their profile pictures, right?
Yep. Um, so I after looking at their profile pictures, you'd like to see how they appear geographically um in the route. How would you do so?
Um, Not.
Yep. Um, and then um you see the listings here, and then you'd like to read more about North Atlantic right whales. How would you, you know, dive deeper to get that level of information?
Um, Click on that.
Yep. And then what do you see on this particular page?
I guess like one of the whales of the specific species, and then all their information linked to their um route and all that.
Yep. So at this point, you'd like to go home, back to the home menu. How would you do so?
So,
Yep. And our next stop would be opening up the menu again and going to My Trips. How would you do that? Just to find a itinerary that is more personalized to your experience. Yep. And let's say you're on the boat at this point, and you'd like to um, start this interactive experience and start the trip. How would you do that?
start over here.
Yep. Cool. And then at this point, we're offering an option for someone who is on the boat. to take a picture of the whale they have probably seen or just like sighted in the moment, how would you do so on this particular screen to um, put a submission in?
Would it be this side button?
Yep. And then what you'd like to like at this point, the screen has opened up and this is a chance for you to input information onto the form so it can be submitted to the, whale watching community and whoever else is on this route. Um, let's say you've added that type of information in, what would you do next?
Submit.
Yep. Cool. And now, can we go back to the um hamburger if you like to go back to the hamburger menu again?
This one?
Can we go back home first?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Wait a minute. Oops. Let's pause.
Wait, it says there's only 1 minute left in the call.
What? I like it.
Should I try again? Let me
Yes.
exit now. Oh, wait, hold on. Okay, works now. So,
Um, okay. So let's continue our last couple screens here. So the next task is um so you're in the conservation tab of the application and you'd like to sign up for an event. How would you do that?
mm, oh, RSVP.
Yep. And then you're reading up on the details and you're like, yep, I want to continue. Um, you know, it fill out the form to actually get attendance to the event. What would you do next? Yep. And um, you know, you filled out the form. You'd like to submit that information. How would you do so?
RSVP again.
Yep. And then you see the success. Um, so let's go back to our hamburger menu. Um, our main menu, sorry. Um, and um, um, you would like to like explore possible routes and animals near you. So how would you do that? What would you press next?
Explore.
Yep. And if you'd like to um look for a particular location is particular sighting, what would you press here? Cool. And then let's say the first sighting you see here is the most important information. How would you would like to like open up that information to see it better?
Mm, like just click on one of the boxes.
Yep. Cool. I think that is it. So let me just wrap up this conversation. Do you have any questions or concerns or any thoughts you want to share with me about the wireframes themselves, any of the interactions you had been asked to do?
I think not as of now.
Okay. No problem. And as a final, we'd like to thank you for your time and your insights. All of the answers will be a great contribution to our study, and I really appreciate it. So if you don't have any other questions, I will stop recording.